Community Connections with Children's Services Council of St. Lucie County. I am but one of your humble hosts, Sean Boyle, and with me is
Ashley Mott.
And welcome to the half-hour radio. And today, you get to see these radio faces on television thanks to a great partnership with WLX, the education channel. This half-hour show that's all about connecting you to what resources, opportunities, and things that are available to children and families in St. Lucie County. Now, if you're a first-time viewer or listener, just real quick, the Children's Services Council, we are an independent district, and what we do is we provide children's programs to residents in St. Lucie County. All said and done, we fund 48 programs that last year reached over 30,000 kids in 5 general categories. I'm going to go over those if I can remember. The first category is 1, making sure every baby's a healthy baby. For example, in St. Lucie County, every birth at a St. Lucie hospital, or actually every resident, no matter where they give birth, they receive a nurse home visitation within 1 week of returning home from the hospital, provided through funding through the Children's Services Council. Our second priority is stopping child abuse before it happens. Many of our viewers and listeners are probably familiar with Hibiscus Children's Center and the Castle, those programs that we provide. Third priority is keeping kids off the streets. Everybody's familiar with the Boys and Girls Club, the YMCA, the Avenue D Boys and Girls Choir, made possible because of funding through the Children's Services Council. Our fourth priority is keeping kids in school. Clearly, we're on the education channel right now. That's very important. Kids can only be successful in life if they stay in school and are successful in school. And our last priority is keeping kids off drugs, alcohol, and other risky behaviors.
You did that well. That was quick.
I messed up a little bit at the beginning, but I recovered well.
Sean mentioned that we're funding about 48 programs this year, and there's lots of different ways where you can find more information about those programs. Obviously, listening and watching this show is one of them, but we share a lot of information on our website where we've got a brief description of each one of those programs as well as contact information. So there's a program that you know your family is interested in, or we often say that this show is all about making connections to neighbors, friends, co-workers, congregation members. You can always share that contact information with them from the website. We also have taken that even a step further, made it a little bit easier to get that information. We've got a free mobile app that is available to download on both the iPhone and the Android platforms. And it gives you one-touch access to those programs. So as soon as you identify a program that you might want to reach out to, you can call right from your phone, right through the app. It's really, really cool.
And one of these days, it's going to be available for my Windows phone.
We'll see.
One of these days. All right. So another great way to connect with us is on Facebook. If you're a Facebook user, and I think everybody in this room is a Facebook user, look up Children's Services Council St. Lucie County. Connect with us. We post on there nearly every day. Positive messages, resources, things that are happening for the community. So make sure you check it out. And I also want to mention real quick, we mentioned the 30,000 children that we served, and we have great outcomes. But behind every one of those numbers is a success story. So if you get a chance to go to our website, cscslc.org, we got a short little video that highlights some success stories. And it kind of is just a reminder that when we talk about numbers and impact and all that, there's stories and faces behind all those.
And those people, as we mentioned, are your neighbors and your friends and your coworkers who are utilizing these services and programs that are made available through Children's Services Council to make their families better, to make our communities better, and to make St. Lucie County better.
So before we jump into all the resources and our great guest who's waiting very patiently, I want to mention that we said this at the beginning. The way the show works is you take this information. If you can use it, great. If not, keep it, store it, pass it along to your neighbors, your congregation members, your coworkers, anybody that can use it. But this show is your show. So we want to hear from you. So at any one time during the show, and or you're watching it and you're like, Sean, dress better, or whatever, contact us. I'm going to give you out my cell phone. You can text us during the show if you have any questions or any resources that you want to share. That number is 772-237-1130. Again, 237-1130. And we give out that number because we truly believe this is your show. We want to design it on the topics that you want to hear about.
And we should say that we've gotten a lot of feedback that way from listeners or families who were looking for additional information, maybe missed a small part of a number that we gave away on the show. But in addition to the number, you can also follow up. The shows are always available on our website after the live show. You can catch us on the website. We give a little recap of what we talked about, and then typically you can either link to the video or the audio, depending on which week it is, for the show in case you missed it.
So for our radio listeners, if you want to know what we look like, check out WLX channel on YouTube, and that show will be on there.
There you go.
So let's hit them with some resources.
Okay, go. No.
That was a segue, but I can go.
Well, I will mention our guest last week on the radio show was wonderful. We had Mariah Deacle from the St. Lucie County Transportation, which we have talked about frequently. I know Frank, our guest, has been with us in meetings before where people have cited transportation as a big issue getting to services in St. Lucie County. And they really have done a lot of work to ensure that not only the children in our community, but everyone in our community has access to these wonderful programs that are available, and they're making that available through free transportation. So now any child under the age of 18 with a student ID or a library card can ride St. Lucie County Community Transit at no cost, which is awesome. So that transit line actually runs from Fort Pierce all the way down to the mall. So they actually could get to the mall and back.
And now up to Vero.
And now up to Vero to connect with their system. So we, again, have posted the show from last week on our website, but it's just really great information, and wanted to plug the community transit again because they really are doing wonderful things.
And while kids under 18 can ride for free, for us adults, who, unless we get a fake ID that says we're 18, we can ride for $1 or $2
Right.
a ride, which is a great deal.
Right.
And I want to mention they also have an app, and it's free, and it's a really cool app. It's called Route Shout. ROUTE, shout, SHOUT, all together. And what it does is you connect, or you select Treasure Coast Connector, and what it does is it GPS identifies where you're at, and it shows you the bus routes so that you can map out where you want to go.
And estimates what time the bus should arrive where you are, too.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I've been playing with it.
That's awesome. So we're really encourage everybody to take advantage of the system. What they mentioned last week was the more people use it, the more resources they're going to get for it. So again, download Route Shout after you download our app. Download Route Shout and pass it along to all your teenagers and friends so that they can get connected to whether it be an after-school activity or a football game or a job. Make sure that we take advantage of it.
Definitely. And again, another one of the resources that we frequently mention is Healthy Kids. This time of year, kids are getting sick. Mine are getting sick frequently. And it's so, I know, you're laughing. But it's so important to make sure that our kids are covered. And we are very lucky that in this community we have Danny, who is our pocket resource for kids health care, and she is just a phone call away. So if you have any questions about Florida Kid Care, Medicaid, Medikids, any one of those names of all
anything related to health, call Danny. Any
of that, Danny can help you, and she is easy to get in touch with. Her phone number is 626-5616, and if you have to leave her a message, I promise you she will return your phone call. She's really great about that.
We mentioned that the show was information heavy at the beginning, right?
Yes.
We got one more tip,
Yes.
and then we're going to go to our guests. Probably the most common question that we get through our text during the show, which again is 772-237-1130, is about after-school programs, whether locations, cost, how they get enrolled. Well, we have a big kind of culmination of what a lot of our after-school programs work on. Not exclusively, but a lot of our programs, clearly they work on homework help for the kids, but a lot of them incorporate the arts, particularly music. So on Friday, December 18th, we've got the little flyer here. Friday, December 18th, we are having our 5th annual Sounds of the Season concert. This is a partnership between the Children's Services Council of St. Lucie County as well as the Sunrise Theater and WFLM, 1047 The Flame, which we're broadcasting on right now, to highlight youth performances. The Avenue D Boys and Girls Choir, the Boys and Girls Club, Future Generations, and the YMCA are all going to perform. So imagine children ages from 5 to 17 years of age getting up on the stage to perform. What a great experience for them. What a great boost to their confidence. And every year this program is sold out. I say sold out because the tickets are free, so I don't know how the sold part, but they're all gone. So these tickets are going to become available on
Friday, November 20th.
So make sure that you get your tickets. Make sure that you come and support our kids. What's great about this concert is every year the kids get a standing ovation. And what a great, way to support our kids, see what great things are happening, but what a way to give back to those kids that are on the stage.
Definitely. And Sean mentioned the tickets will be available Friday, November 20th. You can pick them up either at the Sunrise Theater box office or at our Children's Services Council office in St. Lucie West. More information will be on our website, and of course, stay tuned to Facebook for that release date. We'll keep reminding you of it there.
And make sure you get your tickets early because they do go fast.
They do. They do go fast.
All right, so we have a guest patiently waiting.
We do.
Do you want to introduce him?
Sure. I'd love to.
Want to do it together?
No, I'm good. We've talked a little bit in the last couple of weeks about November being National Adoption Month. We've talked on the show over the last several months about my personal situation and experience with adoption. And because it is National Adoption Month, we knew that we wanted to have Frank Avilla on today from Children's Home Society because of their heavy involvement here locally with the adoption community. And Frank has a really cool kind of job, I think, at Children's Home Society, and he's responsible for the Heart Gallery, which I think often we run into people or encounter people out in the community who might not know exactly what the Heart Gallery means. They might be familiar with Children's Services Council, but not, or I'm sorry, with Children's Home Society, but not necessarily with the Heart Gallery. So can you kind of give us a little explanation about the Heart Gallery and what its intention is?
Sure. First of all, thank you for having me, Ashley, Sean. Always great to be with you all. No matter what forum it is.
Wherever.
No, it's just so
Lights,
great to
camera,
always
action,
see
it's a
you
good
all.
time.
Yeah, we're always on and ready. Well, the Heart Gallery is a photographic exhibit of children that are what we call difficult to place in the foster care system who we're trying to find adoptive homes for. These kids are going to tend to be a little bit older. They're going to be maybe between the ages of 7 and 17. They're going to be siblings that we're trying to find homes for together. They may be minority or biracial children or kids with physical, emotional, or behavioral issues. Of course, keeping in mind that these children have come into the foster care system due to some type of abuse, neglect, abandonment, or any combination of those things. The chances of some type of physical, emotional, or behavioral issues are going to be, if not apparent already, maybe something that's going to come down the road. So the Heart Gallery, like I said, is more a recruiting or marketing tool, as my job, you prefaced, is as the adoption marketing specialist for Children's Home Society of Florida. So I'm a small cog in a big wheel, which is the adoption team here on the Treasure Coast as we service St. Lucie, Martin, Indian River, and Okeechobee counties, trying to find adoptive homes for our kids in foster care.
So it's a physical display of children. So it's kind of has, the photographs, they say a picture says 1,000 words. So you kind of have the picture, which is in partnership with, who takes those pictures?
Well, the photographs are generally done by, formerly Scripps, but now T.C. Palm newspapers, Treasure Coast newspapers. They are the photographers for the majority of the photos. They will take the ones, the children are generally from, as I said, St. Lucie, Martin, Indian River, Okeechobee County, so they will travel. T.C. Palm photographers will travel to any of those 4 counties to shoot photos for us. Sadly, some of our kids sometimes are even placed out of district, so then we might have to work with either freelance photographers from other areas of the state, or we might go out and take the photographs ourselves. But in addition to the photos that do say 1,000 words, then we do put a few hundred words together perhaps and put a slight little bio or a little story about that child, what he or she is like, or they, if it happens to be a sibling group. A little bit about, like I said, some of their likes and maybe dislikes, who they are as a person. We try not to really, dig into what may be the situation, or certainly not why they're in care or anything, but really it's more a read between the lines kind of things, really trying to highlight some of the positives about that child, because they're in the system through no fault of their own. They're not bad kids. These are kids that have had something bad happen to them, and now this is the end result of it, and we're trying to find them a happy ending or a forever family.
I so like that you mentioned that, and I think, we've heard you speak about adoption several times, and I think that's something that you always make clear about foster care, is that there's a lot of misnomers about kids in care, that they are there because they're delinquents or they've done something bad and their parents can't handle them anymore. And I would say that almost 100% of the time that is just not the case. These kids are in care because something bad has happened to them, like
Right.
you said. Abuse, neglect, some kind of tragic situation has happened in their family where their parents it's no longer safe for them to be there. I love that you bring that up, because I think that it's important to remind people that these kids aren't damaged. there's nothing really wrong with them. They're just in a really difficult situation. So, obviously, my story is a little, that was sort of what happened to us. My husband and I fell in love with foster care and the idea of what it meant, and got very lucky with the situation that was presented to us, and very quickly were able to adopt those kids. So it's just, I think the Heart Gallery and the idea behind it is so wonderful. And I know you and I worked a lot kind of behind the scenes when the Heart Gallery was initially started, which, gosh, how long has it been now?
Well, you have maybe a year or two head start on me. I think it started here in our area. The Heart Gallery of Okeechobee and the Treasure Coast is its formal name. And I believe it started in around 2005 or so. Mm-hmm. And I came to Children's Home Society, or back to Children's Home Society, in about the summertime of 2007. And yeah, you and I were working quite closely together to formulate how it was all going to work. And really since about October of 2007, the large version of the Heart Gallery, which is about anywhere between 12 feet to 18 feet long and about 7 feet high, has been on display almost constantly for the last 7 or 8 years. And we've been able to put it into very high traffic venues, places where folks can see it, places where folks can take things away from it and contact us if a photo or a child's story speaks to them in some way, and we can potentially get that family into the adoption pipeline. Anyone that can show interest in being an adoptive family, and I'm sure we'll touch on a little bit about maybe what it takes to become an adoptive parent or an adoptive family, but it's just so nice to have something that is such a conversation starter, whether it is the mini gallery or the larger one that we're able to set up and leave somewhere for 6-8 weeks at a time.
Right.
So before we move to the process of adoption and kind of the orientation and what it takes, I just want to reiterate, the Heart Gallery is kind of an artistic display. I don't know if I'm using the right word there, but the photographs bring people in, the stories bring people in, and the photos capture the essence of that child. And it's really not only to raise awareness about these children that are available for adoption, but the whole topic and the thing of adoption, if you will. So I'm saying all this because, we talk about this on the show all the time. It's not a passive show. I mean, you can sit back and watch and listen, maybe be entertained and learn something, but we want people to get involved. So the Heart Gallery, you mentioned it already, has been displayed in hundreds of locations, but you have the ability to display the Heart Gallery anywhere there's foot traffic, correct?
Yes, absolutely. And again, we have the large one that can be set up in county buildings, in large libraries, large bank venues. We have it on display at different colleges and places like that throughout our 4-county area. But the smaller one is really a tabletop version. It's only about 6 feet long, just a few feet high. Heck, I'll provide the table, and and just set it up in a small bank lobby in a church facility, for a couple of weeks at a time. Does your agency have a function going on this weekend where we can set the gallery up and pass out information about adoption and how you can become involved with the adoption process? All kinds of ways that we can promote it, or for someone to reach out to us and say, hey, we'd like to become more involved. But Sean, I like what you said about the gallery being a photographic or an artistic display. It is something that's done very, very tastefully. The photographs were done and are done much differently than your standard, just basically head and shoulder photos. We're going to catch, as you said, the essence of the child or children. These are going to be done and give these children a good feeling, a sense of pride. Maybe these kids have never really had a professional photograph taken of them, maybe short of maybe a school photograph. But again, that might have been done with family. Now they don't even have a copy of that photo. This is something that they can actually, if they like, get their hands on, and I could give them a copy of it or something like it, because many times hundreds of photos are taken and only one is selected. So I can possibly, give the child or children a copy of that photo. But the gallery is just such a wonderful, like I said, marketing tool, and it's a feel-good thing. It may be one of the few times you get to catch those children with a smile on their face for any length of time, and they feel like movie stars as they're in those 15 to 30 minute, sometimes 60-minute photo shoots wherever they're taken.
And it's very tastefully done, and it's very artistic, and as you mentioned before, these children are in foster care through no fault of their own. and they're in difficult circumstances. But I don't want our viewers or listeners to think that it's like a depressing display. It's actually very uplifting, and it's really kind of, I'm going to simplify this, but it's kind of a numbers game. So maybe you, the viewer or listener, aren't interested in adopting, but the more we talk about it, the more we let people know that there are children out there of all different ages, and even if that child is 14, 15, 16 years old, imagine not having a family to come back to, during the holidays if they go to college or whatever. So every child deserves a family, and this is a way that everybody can get involved. And I'm saying this so that I'm kind of throwing down a gauntlet. We do this every time you come on the show.
Every time.
A gauntlet. We want businesses, we want churches, we want civic groups to contact Frank and display this heart gallery. It's a simple thing that everybody can do. Contact Frank. He said, he'll bring the table even. All you got to provide is a little bit of space and just raise awareness. And maybe the topic, maybe you're thinking, none of my friends are interested in adoption. You never know that.
You never know.
You never know that. And the more we talk about it, the more we let people know that this is an issue in our community and these great kids are needing forever families, the more chances are that we're going to find somebody who does in fact want to adopt. So I say that to say, how does somebody get a hold of you? Because all of our listeners and viewers are going to contact Frank and make that happen.
Sure. No, people can get in touch with us a few different ways. We always have, folks can get information about Children's Home Society, the adoption program, just by getting on our website, of course, www.chsfl.org. And that might show folks where the heart gallery is going to be on display, the large version. It might show you when our next adoption orientation is taking place. However, if they want to literally get in touch with me directly and they have a venue for the heart gallery, they can call me at 772-429-2009. If they know someone that's interested in adoption, if they want to talk about, hey, where can I come to the next adoption orientation, I'd like to RSVP, then they could call us at 429-2001. That's our adoption information line.
So we've got a few minutes left in the show. So we know that our viewers and listeners are going to contact Frank, allow him to set up the heart gallery at wherever there's foot traffic. There's only 20 people that come through my business. That's still 20 people that can be reached, right?
Absolutely.
We're going to spread the word, and we're going to find more adoptive families for these children that need homes, forever homes. So we've got them hooked now, right? They're going to call Frank at 429-2009. They're going to set up the display. We're going to find some adoptive families. What's the next step then?
If folks, again, wanted to come out, I would ask them to come out to our adoption orientation. We generally we generally have those on a monthly basis. The only month that we generally do not have one is in December. Otherwise, we have them 11 times a year. Once folks come out to our adoption orientation to hear a little bit about what we have to offer with regards to how the process works, we would send them generally to Camelot Community Care. They're the local agency that provides all training for potential foster or adoptive parents. They conduct a 21-hour class, which is called PIP, which is Partnerships in Parenting. That's going to basically give families, individuals or families, you don't have to be a couple, you can be single, to adopt, and they're going to take them basically through this is what a child in the foster care would be like, whether you were fostering or potentially adopting this child. As that's happening, one of our adoption specialists is going to be basically holding that family's hand to write what we call their adoption home study. That's going to be basically the booklet about that family that says, hey, I am interested in one of your local children. Here's how I show my interest by submitting an adoption home study. Just to let you know real quickly, and I know you said we only have a couple minutes left, we may have 150 children available for adoption at any one time on the Treasure Coast. 3/4 of those children are what we call in identified placements. They're already going to be adopted by an aunt, an uncle, a grandparent, the foster home that they're currently in. It's that other 25% that I'm working on. I'm working on the other 30 to 50 children on any given day. Those are the ones that may end up on the heart gallery. We want to find homes for those children. They're the more difficult to place. They're the ones that are going to be a little bit older. You're probably not going to come to our orientation and hope to find a 0 to 5-year-old. You have to be a little bit more open with what type of child you may be interested in your home. If you're open to biracial children or minority children, children over the age of 7. But again, submitting the adoption home study to us would be the first part of the process. We would then take a few home studies if we have interest from several families, maybe local. There may be families from out of the area that would be interested in some of our kids too. That happens, which is also good for our local families too. Selfishly, we'd love them to adopt our kids, but their home study would be good for other parts of the state or country. If they were interested in children elsewhere, they could go on other adoption-related websites and search for kids across the country. However, the cool thing that we do, as opposed to private adoption, where folks pay a lot of money to adopt a child, we're not trying to find a child for the family. We're trying to find a family for those children. We want that family's strengths to be a match for that child or those children's needs. It's something very difficult a lot of times for families to wrap their heads around. Why isn't this happening quick? Adoption through foster care doesn't cost money. That's another cool thing about it, Sean, Ashley, and I know you guys know this. There's a subsidy that families can get on a monthly basis up until the child turns 18. There's Medicaid. There's tuition to Florida state schools up to age 28. There's a federal income tax credit. There are benefits to and for a family that is willing to take a child and care for them as if they are their own, because that's what they end up doing. Being in court on a adoption finalization day is wonderful, and you've done it not only on your own, but otherwise, awesome. And you know, that's one of the coolest things you can see is when the judge bangs the gavel and says it's happened, and applause explodes, and you know, it's just a really cool thing for people to see and to witness and to be a part of. You know, biological children are amazing. But to have a child that you can bond with that is not your own, that you have now taken in as your own, and they call you mom or dad, that's got to be the coolest feeling on the planet. At least that's what I've heard, you know, and I think it's great. And in my 7 or 8 years, I've seen nearly 1,000 adoptions finalized in our division. I think we're at about 500 or 650 in the last 5 years. Wow. Our last fiscal year, 14-15, we had 158.
That's amazing.
So we've got about a minute left, and okay, I'm going to summarize this just real quick. Call Frank, one, to either help spread awareness about foster care, or I'm sorry, the Heart Gallery and adoptions, or even if you're for sure want to go and become an adoptive parent, simply call Frank as well. I know he mentioned a lot of stuff, but we're just going to say call Frank at 429-2009. With about a minute left, November is National Adoption Month, and you've got a big event coming up.
Saturday, November 21st is National Adoption Day. We're going to have an adoption celebration at Langford Park in Jensen Beach from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. It is a free family picnic. We're going to provide food, live entertainment, guest speakers, games, fun. We not only invite our adoptive families, but we also invite the community at large to come. We promise we will feed you and allow you to participate in anything. It's to thank our families that have adopted, but also to continue to raise and spread awareness of the need for more permanent local adoptive families.
And we'll make sure that we get all of that information up on the website so that folks can find more about the adoption process, the adoption orientations, and National Adoption Day if they visit our website.
I said month, but it's day, right?
It's both.
It's both.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
we're in the middle of month, and we are at the right time for day, so it's perfect.
Well, thank you, Frank, for coming on.
Always a pleasure.
We're going to pass this information on, and we've actually are talking about adoption
Again.
on. You know, if you're watching this on TV, this radio program is also on Sundays at 10 a.m. on WFLM 104.7 The Flame. Do you have anything else you want to add?
I don't think so. Just visit us online, find the information, and mark your calendars for Sounds of the Season. It will be Friday, December 18th.
And remember, it's our children, our community, our future. We're all in this together. We'll see you next time.